What's up, guys? This is Mike Loris. I'm going to be bringing you more games in Starseries Season 3. This is going to be between MYM on the Radiant side and M5 on the Dire side. It was an all-pick game, so I guess it was remade or something like that. On the M5 side, they have Anti-Mage, who is being played by Nexus. He's going to be supported by Solo the Lich on the mid lane. Stallianer is going to be going top as the Queen of Pain. Dread supporting as a Shadow Demon on the bottom. Sudoi as the solo lane, bot lane. Tidehunter. Calculus is going to be on the bot lane, at least for now, as the Windrunner. Atsi is going to be playing the Rubik. Chaos Knight is going to be played by Balsam, the typical hard carry, and Quix is going to be playing the Darkseer. That leaves one more person. Where is he? There we go. Rise is going to be playing that Jakiro. And who the is Quix? I actually don't know if this is someone. Oh, it's just Quix, so there you go. So, yeah, this was an all-pick game, so I don't know who got picked when. So that's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience right there, but really, it doesn't really matter. MYM, well, they have a pretty substantial team fight, a lot of skirmishing power as well. M5, well, they kind of have a similar lineup. They're a little bit more team fight oriented with the Sonic Wave, Ravage, plus a Chain Frost on top of that, with some security with in the late game with the Anti-Mage. MYM have a generally more early mid-game based team. CK does scale pretty well into the late game if he gets the early kills. And if he just gets pure farm, he's not going to be as powerful as the Anti-Mage, who could get a lot more farm a lot quicker. So MYM, they're going to have to make things happen in the early mid-stage of the game, because if it reaches late, the Anti-Mage plus the team fight from M5 will mean that they would just flat out win. MYM, on the other hand, they have a lot of early game power, they have a lot of lockdown, so they could get a lot of action going very early on, and then build an advantage from there. So it'll be on MYM to really make things happen in this game. Looks like the top lane, Quix is going to be soloing the Darkseer. On the top lane, you know, nothing too surprising there. Those Ion Shells just to push Stallianer back. You're going to have a little bit of harassment from Dread on this bottom lane, but you know, he's going to be able to get a little bit of gold from those double Ion Shells. On this bot lane, the Tidehunter has jumped ship. He's going to go to the jungle, probably just stack up and clear these easy camps, although kind of missed the pull opportunity. Shit happens. But he knows that he's not going to get anything on this bot lane. Illusions from the Jakiro plus the Rubik covering this CK. So CK is going to get absolute free farm. Then again, so is the Queen of Pain on top lane. And both the heroes kind of have the same window of valuableness in the game. Like, they both have very powerful early mid game. And then late game they could do very well, depending on how well their early mid game has been going. Anti-Mage is having his farm contested just a little bit. So this dual lane mid is so far not working out in M5's favor. Of course, time will tell whether or not it will actually be considered to have worked. Nexus just needs to get as much farm as he can, but he's taking a lot of harassment damage from Calculus on this Windrunner. Nexus is going to force to pop off like a salve or something. This Windrunner is doing a lot of harassment damage, and Lich, I mean, he's pretty good at harassing right back, but I do believe, yes, Windrunner does have 50 more range. So the Lich is not going to have as great a time harassing the Windrunner as the Windrunner is going to have in really just fighting toe-to-toe with the Lich and the Anti-Mage. So that is the current state of affairs. The CK and the Windrunner are getting free farm. Mid lane is kind of getting contested a little bit. But M5, they do have a jungler, or a semi-jungler with the pulling from Dread, and then Sudoi with the Anchor Smash. He's level 2. Compared to the level 2 of the Darkseer, so he's doing alright on that, you know, quote-unquote long lane, even though he kind of bailed out from that. With the Anchor Smash, he'll be able to stack up this easy camp a whole lot and then just smash down every time things on cooldown, or just get pulls. That works too. Nexus already down on his restorative, Solo as well. They're both down to just one salve total. So this Windrunner is doing a lot of work on this lane. We do have a smoke up from Atsi and Rise. They do have one spell each, or 2 spells each, I guess. They're going to look for a kill onto Solo. Very, very weak at this point. If Calculus gets a power shot, then Solo, if you flick him, he will die. Solo's got to be really careful now, but they don't know that the smoke isn't coming. There's the reveal, but they're still hidden in the trees. Lich is falling back, and he should be safe from this one. They're instead going to go for Nexus. Telekinesis into a perfect ice path. Power shot to fly through, but it's not going to be enough damage. And the Anti-Mage does blink away, and he does survive from that. Keeping pressure onto this Anti-Mage, denying him the early game dominance or early game farm that he really would otherwise count on. Kind of an odd choice for M5 to lane a dual lane mid. I mean, usually that's what you do when you pick up a Lich. You just dual lane mid because of that experience swing that you constantly get from denying creeps with a sacrifice. But they could have had a solo mid lane Queen of Pain with an anti-mage getting protected farm on top. Instead, they do value that farm on the Queen of Pain. They thought that they would have a very easy time in this mid lane, but it is proving to be quite the opposite. Windrunner is doing very well for herself, 8-2. I mean, it's not a huge score. I've seen a lot better. But the fact that she's up against two people, one of those being Lich, oh no, the Darkseer might be in a little bit of trouble. Sodoi does have 1 point of Gush. Quicks is going to try to surge himself out of this. There's going to be enough damage though. And the first blood does get drawn by Stalliana on the Queen of Pain.
First blood.
So Queen of Pain is doing very well for herself, and Queen of Pain is the kind of hero who is usually defined as a snowball-y type of hero. Once you get one kill, then the rest of the kills just come so much easier. CK, kind of the same thing, but with no one in his lane, he's going to rely purely on creep farm. It's really comparable creep farm to the Queen of Pain though. So the Queen of Pain is going to be a lot more relevant, I feel, in this the upcoming minutes of this game. Of course, yeah, it's very early, so it's kind of hard to make judgments like that. But you know, Balsam's doing pretty well as far as his farm goes. But then again, the Queen of Pain is getting absolute free farm over Quicks, who's only level 2. The Tidehunter, who would have been on the bot lane level 1 still, is instead level 4. Or there he is, level 4. So the Tidehunter is getting a lot more. The advantage should be in favor of M5, as it is with that first blood kind of helping out in that. But even their farm is going in their way as well. So MYM, I do believe it will be in their best interests for Ryze and Atzi to wander around the map, try to get a pick off somewhere. Because otherwise they're just sitting on this bot lane, not doing much really. And Blue could really use their help, Calculus or Quicks. They could all really use an additional hero or two. And Balsam, I mean, they know that no one's on this lane. They're just keeping the creeps close to the tower to give Balsam a little bit of an easier time getting those last hits. Or, you know, keeping him from being really vulnerable. But M5, like, where is their mobility going to come from? You could recognize right off the bat if Queen of Pain's missing. If Shadow Demon leaves, it's no big deal. If the Lich leaves, it's still no big deal because what is he going to do? 2 points of Frost Blast? That's not going to kill off a CK. So Balsam really doesn't need this extra protection. Oh no, another disruption plus Soul Catcher onto Quicks. Going to take a huge Scream of Pain. Sonic Wave as well. Maybe just a blink forward. No, the blink isn't actually up, but 3 ticks of that poison. Going to be enough to do him in. He actually got level 2 on Shadow Poison. Very peculiar build from the Shadow Demon. Usually you prioritize Soul Catcher and get disruption on top of that. Oh, Gush is going to allow Solo to deny the tower. There goes a stun. 3 seconds onto Sodor. Reality Rifting the Lich back instead. Lich is going to pop off a haste rune. Going to run the wrong way though, and he's going to go down. Ice Path onto 2. That Dread does teleport in. He does have a disruption and a Soul Catcher combo, but it looks like they don't want to fight. Oh, Stallianer's closing in as well. Gush onto Atzi. Blink forward from Stallianer. Scream of Pain plus the Shadow Poison starting to stack up. There's the kill from Stallianer. Takes the 4-second stun in retaliation, but now Balsam starting to take a couple of poison stacks. Sodoi, without any mana though, cannot get a Gush onto the CK, and the CK is fast enough to just run away from this. Although Stallianer might have other things to say. He's going to blink right into a dual breath, which is really freaking stupid. I guess he thought that Balsam would be closer, but he wasn't, so Queen of Pain kind of throws away her life unnecessarily. A little bit of a mistake from her. But the score stands 2-3. The tower did get denied on top of that as well. Good last hitting by the Lich player. So M5, I mean, they lose the tower, but so they weren't going to keep that tower anyway. With no one on the lane, you cannot expect to hold a tower like that. Simply not possible. Instead, you know, they're getting a lot of farm on, or they're getting a lot of time for the anti-mage to get what he can. 31 creep kills on him, not doing too bad. It's hard to keep up with 2 heroes who are getting absolute uncontested free farm, but he's still doing pretty well for himself. 58 gold per minute above Calculus. And now with the Lich in another lane, he's gonna have a little bit of a tougher time, but he does have a Ring of Health. He does have a poor man's shield, so he will be able to take a little bit more harassment. Looks like Quicks as well as Balsam looking for a kill onto this top lane. This is exactly what the Chaos Knight needs to do. He needs to farm heads. He already has 2 assists, which is good. He'd prefer kills, but you know, sometimes you get what you get. Now Balsam's going to get surged forward. Solo's going to take a Reality Rift with the Ion Shell and a 4-second stun. The Lich is going to drop. Darkseer with the Ion Shell, unfortunately for Balsam, does pick up that kill. But MYM getting free picks. A free pick here, a free pick there. You know, it'll stack up, especially if the one getting kills, or if CK is being involved in the kills. So CK really making good of his early mid-game power. The Queen of Pain, on the other hand, well, she's level 7, so she's not doing too bad herself. Of course, CK just hit that level 8 mark. Queen of Pain does have a lot of burst damage, 300 plus 3, that's not 350, plus the, no, it is 350. Huh, okay, plus the 350 from the Sonic Wave. They can burst down a whole bunch of heroes, plus the right clicks, plus the blink. But it looks like in MYM, they're going to take their second tower of the game. This one probably not going to be denied. Teleportation coming in. This is going to be the Lich plus the Shadow Demon. They can't really do much. Soul's going to take a 2-second stun. Ion Shell grinding up that Lich. Vacuum plus Reality Rift. Stalliano's going to throw out a Sonic Wave. Hit Quicks, but Balsam's going to be the one to fall as this Calculus does arrive into this fight. Going to take a Disruption plus Soul Catcher from Dread. Shadow Poison as well. The Calculus is going to pop out the window and just be just fine. And now Dread taking a lot of right click damage. Quick's going to come around from the corner and punch him. No, it's not going to happen. But 2 stacks of poison. Will it be enough? This bottle will keep her alive. No, Stalliano blinks in for that Scream and Pain. Going to get the right clicks onto the Darkseer as well. Stalliano does pick up a double kill from that. Level 9 now on the Queen of Pain. This Queen of Pain is just going to snowball harder and harder as this game progresses, because even though she has died once onto this kind of a foolish dive onto this bot lane, she's getting kills, she's getting assists, and she's getting farm. We're going to see what kind of item she wants to go for. It could be for a Hex Rush. Lincoln Sphere might not be that bad, actually. Block off a Telekinesis, block off a CK Bolt or a Shackle Shot. But Stalliano really does have a lot of gold at his disposal, and he could farm a lot more gold a lot quicker. Once he gets that blink maxed out, he'll be so mobile. And MYM, they do have a lot of lockdown, but if they're the ones being on the defensive, and it's going to be really rough for them. Looks like there's just a huge jungling fest going on here. But as I was saying, the Shadow Demon build, as I was saying like 5 minutes ago, the Shadow Demon build, usually you don't see Shadow Poison picked up a whole lot. Usually the priority is on the Soul Catcher, is on the Disruption. You get 1 point of Shadow Poison, or like 2 points for the vision it gives. But other than that, you really want the Soul Catcher for the just pure damage that offers to the team. If you do a Soul Catcher into a Frost Blast or a Scream and Pain, that is a lot of hurt. Shadow Poison is a little bit more of an aggressive build, but usually you don't see it from support Shadow Demons. Usually if you're going for a solo mid Shadow Demon, you max out Shadow Poison because that gives him lane control. But in a kind of support ganker role, it's kind of a peculiar build. It will add a lot of early mid-game damage to the M5 side, which might be what they're going for. Just, you know, try to counter off MYM's early power with as much early power as they can muster. And then, you know, Soul Catcher is a percentage number. Disruption is a percentage number. So that'll scale well into the late game. Oh no, Atsi completely out of position. Stalliano is going to find him. He can get denied that Shadow Strike though. He does have a Sonic Wave plus the Lich to support. Blink forward, one more right click is gonna do another, is gonna bring the Rubik down. Queen of Pain gets another kill, gonna rush that BKB actually. So instead, she's gonna go for the complete magic immunity instead of the partial magic immunity. You know, but so far the Shadow Demon has been doing pretty good work. Soul Catcher isn't amplifying as much as it usually does, but the poison charge has got him at least 1 kill so far. Plus they've been doing a lot of damage on top of that. So Dread, yeah, this build is working out for him. Just kind of peculiar since you don't see it that often. But really their goal is to survive this stage of the game. If they could make it another 20 minutes without, you know, dropping too many towers or too many kills, well then the Shadow Demon will eventually have a maxed out Soul Catcher. And that percentage increase will allow for the Anti-Mage to have such an easier time. The spell damage will of course do more damage as well. But right now it's all about playing defensively for M5. Not looking to, you know, take 1,000,000 towers. They don't have a timer on them. And playing defensively doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to get kills. It simply means that we don't need to be suicidal in them. We don't need to make things happen. Kills will allow them to be... the more kills they get, the more defensive they can play, really. Because Nexus is going to have all the time in the world. Once he does hit that Battle Fury mark, it's not going to be the fastest Battle Fury because of the contested mid lane farm. Really M5, they just have to protect this anti-mage and then they'll be fine in the late game. MYM, I mean, they're doing a decent job so far. They're still getting a couple of those core levels up. Rubik not yet level 6, Jakiro actually level 8. So the support getting a lot more than this support. Kind of weird to see, but especially since they were doing the same exact thing in the lane. But yeah, once the Rubik gets level 6, then they can actually start making things happen. Of course, they would also prefer to have more levels in the Fade Bolt and Telekinesis and stuff like that. But as a support Rubik, you take what you can get, and that's level 6 from Rubik. You can steal some pretty big spells. Sonic Wave or even Blink. Tidehunter has Ravage, Chain Frost, and the Lich. Those are spells that M5 would really not want to go against. But it's also really hard to avoid, so We have an instant smoke up from Atsy and Balsam. Maybe looking... No, those are illusions from the Queen of Pain. Interesting, interesting. They're instead going to head towards the top lane. If they get a CK Bolt stun onto the anti-mage, he is probably going to die. If it's 2-second stuns, then maybe not. But with the Fade Bolt, with the Reality Rift damage, plus the Windrunner teleporting in, they want to kill on this anti-mage. Maybe they're going to use Windrunner as a little bit of bait. But anti-mage is already falling back. He's not going to be fooled by this. Balsam does have a lot of movement speed, even more with the smoke, really. Oh, Nexus, he's got to be fast on his fingers right now. Going to take a 2-second stun, plus telekinesis, though. The chain stuns are going to overlap, and he's just going to blink away. What got stolen? Blink got stolen from Rubik, so a very useful spell to have. As in the meantime, the bottom lane falls. Rise getting picked off once again by Stallianer. Again, snowballing really hard on that Queen of Pain. Burn the Sonic Wave for that one. But the important thing is not that they got the kill, it's the fact that in the span of this 1 minute, Anti-Mage didn't die there. A little bit of miscommunication from MYM. They stacked up their stuns. They had the complete... they had Anti-Mage surprised. And, you know, surprise is a pretty valuable asset. But they stacked up the telekinesis, they stacked up the 2-second bolt. And I don't know if it would have been enough if they didn't stack it up. But regardless, Anti-Mage did survive from that. That does allow him to pick up his Perseverance, only about 1,000 more until he gets his finished Battle Fury. So it's definitely not the fastest Battle Fury, but you know, he's doing pretty decently because the rest of his team is holding down the fort. He doesn't need to be so big quite yet. Of course, it's always better when you are a lot bigger than your team at this point in the game, but you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. MYM, they've been making attempts, like especially on that anti-mage on the top lane, but I feel like what they really need to do is to pour on the aggression right now. They do have a very powerful twin-headed dragon at this point. Chaos Knight getting really big as well, almost has that armlet completed. And they have 3 points in the vacuum, 4 points on the Ion Shell. Windrunner also a pretty decent level. So MYM, they're in a pretty good shape if they want to go super aggressive, and I really do think they should. Because if they wait all game, Nexus has yet to die? Yeah, he hasn't died, he hasn't gotten any kills either. But still, Anti-Mage getting free farm is something that is really hard to contest. Really, no matter how much lockdown you have, even if he gets a BKB, if he just goes Manta style after Battle Fury, really, it's going to allow the Anti-Mage to really do work in the later stage of the game. Looks like the smoke actually got revealed. I don't know if it timed out. I think it timed out, because no one was actually near there. But the smoke wasted regardless from M5. They're going to instead tend to their lanes, and really, MYM, they seem content with farming. I guess they believe that they could take a late game fight. Wall of Replica is a pretty good spell against Anti-Mage because Anti-Mage usually does stack stats pretty heavily. So his illusions will do a lot of damage, plus the mana burn on top of that. But putting all your eggs in the Wall of Replica basket could be pretty risky. Looks like instead they're going to go for a little bit of a skirmish in this mid lane. Quicks and Calculus on the front lines as the rest of the team is smoked up behind them. They're going to head towards the high ground. Nexus is heading up towards the top lane. They're going to catch the Doi, but he does have a Ravage. Oh no, blink forward from Atsy, going to bring the Anti-Mage closer for a 4-second stun. The Ice Path is going to follow from Rise, and Nexus is finally going to take a fall. That's exactly what MYM need to do. Just go for the very aggressive plays, and hey, it panned out. You got the kill on the Anti-Mage. What more could you want? They could even go for a tier 2 tower at this point, even though the Anti-Mage wasn't going to be doing a whole lot to defend anyway. They should be able to do a little bit of damage to this tower. I don't know if they'll be able to take down... Well, if they get a stun on Stallianer, they could. The stun actually dodged. The Chain Frost burned completely on just one hero. Now 2-man, 3-man vacuum. Stallianer's going to get pulled back. There's the Ravage from Sudoi, though, catching a whole bunch of the MYM heroes. Stallianer's still in the middle of everything. He's going to blink himself out just fine. Reality Rift breaking. Balsam constantly taking those stacks of poison. He's going to be fine, though. M5 do successfully defend, but at what cost? They lost the Chain Frost, they lost the Ravage, and they didn't get anything for it. Is their Sonic Wave still up? Their Sonic Wave is still up, so that's still one of the 3 big team fight ults that they have. But MYM, they're not really reliant on their giant ultimates. I mean, Jakiro, his ultimate isn't on the longest cooldown, but also it doesn't deal the most damage. I mean, it's useful to have, but it's definitely no Sonic Wave, it's definitely no Ravage. Unless, of course, you could keep them there for the entire duration, but how often are you going to see that? With a vacuum, it might be possible. So they do burn the Macropyre, they also do burn the Phantasm. But really, MYM, they're not as reliant on the ultimates as M5 are. Because, I mean, a Lich without Chain Frost, what the hell is he going to do? Blast someone with a level 2 Frost Blast? That's not going to do anything. Tidehunter is going to get an Anchor Smash, which, yeah, it's a great spell, but it's really You really need that Ravage if you're going to take a good fight, at least at this point in the game. Nexus does have his Battle Fury up, but he still does need more time to farm. And M5, they cannot take a fight 4v5 without those big teamfight ultimates. If they do have the big teamfight ultimates, if they land a Ravage, if they land a good Chain Frost, Sonic Wave, and all that, then MYM, they're just going to crumble. Just the flat damage from those spells is going to be so much, a little bit too much for MYM to bear at this point in the game. Later on, they aren't going to be as reliant on those ultimates as the anti-mage gets bigger and bigger. But MYM, they're not willing to wait. They're going to make another push onto this tier 2 mid, and it is going to fall. Calculus with the haste rune warding back the entirety of M5. Fortification is going to pop, but it doesn't matter because the tower is going to drop regardless. Let's see who gets the last click. It's going to be the CK, so perfect situation there for MYM. Now they're going to teleport bottom, look for Stallioner, but he's going to blink deep into the trees, and he's going to escape. I don't think that they are actually, well, yeah, I don't think they actually wanted to get a kill on that Queen of Pain. They just wanted to go to this bot lane to, first of all, stop it from pushing, obviously, but also go for a second tier 2. Because, well, the Ravages and Chain Frost are going to be up soon, so MYM, they got to watch their timings right now. But if they could burn out the Ravage somehow, burn out the Sonic Wave or the Chain Frost, or really just force the other team to use them in a semi-unsuccessful fashion, and they should be in pretty good condition to really do whatever they want. Looks like M5, they're not willing to wait. They do know that they have the big ultimates up. Ravage plus Chain Frost plus Sonic Wave. Nexus also going to do a little bit of damage, although it's mostly just playing defensive. They're not even making a push onto any towers. It's going to hurt them in the long run because MYM, they do have the current gold lead, but with a team such as M5's, that's really what you would kind of expect. With a team such as MYM versus a team such as M5's, you would expect MYM to have a lead at this point in the game just because of the amount of power coming out early game from these heroes. Nexus has still yet to really get going on that anti-mage, and he might be in a little bit of trouble as Balsam plus Quicks plus the entirety of MYM, really. They're going to go for killing the anti-mage. Not going to happen, though, as he does blink back. But the anti-mage isn't very useful right now. It's all about those flat values. Level 2 Sonic Wave, Ravage, Gush, Anchor Smash, plus the Shadow Poison, actually. Going to do a lot of damage as well. If he land those spells, oh no, Calculus in a horrible position. Oh, he's just going to force staff himself out in a much better position than I thought. Nexus is going to give chase, though, and a regeneration rune from Calculus not going to last long. Calculus going to get a 2 shackle. And will it be enough? Nexus and Stallioner both have blinks. Calculus going to try to teleport out of here. It is going to be enough. The Mana Void tried to come out there, but unfortunately cast animation is a bitch, and it did not go off. Windrunner does escape with her life. Very good play by Calculus, recognizing the lineup from both the Queen of Pain and the Anti-Mage. So Anti-Mage is denied a kill or at least an assist there, and still 0-1-0. He's not getting the most involvement in these hero kills. He does have a Battle Fury, and he's farming pretty darn well. But still, Balsam is the one that's actually leading the way. Armlet, Drum, plus a BKB in the works. So the CK he's gotten a lot of farm, and he's been participating in quite a few fights, so he's snowballing pretty heavily as well. Going to pop a Jump Charge, trying to go for the Shadow Demon. Ultimately, the Jump Charge is just wasted. Looks like instead the objective is going to be the bot lane. The Ravage, Chain Frost, plus Sonic Wave, they're all up. So M5, they can mount a defense here if they choose to do so. They do see Balsam at least. Also, I do believe they know that Quicks and Ats are here. Calculus, they know that he is here as well. The only one not accounted for is Jakiro, but I'm sure M5 know about it. Sudoi just needs to get a good Ravage. Let's see if they actually want to defend this Stallioner. Is he going to go in? Sudoi pushing the front lines. Gush, but a two-man Ice Path plus a two-man Shackle Shot. Sudoi taking a ton of damage. Got to burn that Ravage. Not going to happen though as the pipe does pop off Dread. Sonic Wave completely nullified as Lich also falls. Dread to follow, and then Queen of Pain. The only one to live is Nexus, the Anti-Mage. He didn't even go in there. But Ice Path from long range, such a fantastic initiation tool because, well, really, that range, it's between the range and how fast it takes to pop off now. It's just so easy to hit. And M5, they still do have the Chain Frost and Ravage. Sonic Wave was burned in that fight, but they're going to lose a tier 3 tower. They cannot really fight until this Queen of Pain gets back up. They need that magic damage. Queen of Pain, she doesn't have the time. She didn't even get the BKB off in time. The Braxes are going to live, actually. They're going to fall back. Kind of scared of that Ice Path, or of the Chain Frost. As well they should be. It's only level 1 Chain Frost, but it still does a ton of damage. Raxes do survive, but MYM, they get a tier 3 tower. Now I do believe their objective is going to be the last tier 2 in the game, and extend their gold lead even more from that. M5 unfortunately could not get the team fight off. That pipe picked up very early by the Darkseer. went straight for it actually. Soul Ring Pipe. And it completely nullified all of the Queen of Pain's damage. And it would have nullified a Ravage or something like that. But MYM, that's pretty much the exact item they need to be aggressive at this point in the game. Because what's M5 depending on? They're depending on the magic damage. They're depending on the Queen of Pain, the Shadow Demon, Tidehunter, and Lich. Anti-Mage, not yet. So MYM, if they could lock down that Shadow, if they could lock down the magic damage, well then they're in prime condition to win fights, as they did on the top lane. M5 did not have enough damage. They didn't have any spells coming out because they simply could not get them off. They were just all stunned, but also the fact that even if they did get them off, the pipe would have blocked most of it. So M5, I mean, they're still not out of it yet. They are a little bit behind, vastly behind as far as the gold per minute goes. Experience, not as much. But Nexus is getting farm, which is the important thing. He does have only Power Treads, Battle Fury this late in the game. Calculus is going to get himself 4-staffed out. Wind Run as well. Nexus is going to go for a little bit of blocking, but Quicks is here to support. Going to vacuum back Nexus. He does have a blink though, so he should be fine. Long range Shackle plus a Disruption. Power Shot going to miss on that Disruption. So Nexus does live, as we do have Rise circling around. Going to look for that Ice Path possibly. Not going to land it. But MYM, do they possibly want to go for the Raxes right now? Mid lane Rax is about half health on the melee. Looks like they're instead going to tend to their own lanes. Once again, remember that M5, they have yet to take a single tower. But they just need to take one good team fight, and then they get at least two. Well, I guess it's going to be 2 towers, as the top tower does get denied. So MYM denying a lot of effective gold to the M5 side, just by holding up onto their towers. Granted, M5 haven't been pushing all that aggressively towards the towers, but still, no towers equals no additional gold there. 3 onto this top lane. They're going to smoke up and look for Staliana, who's very, very weak. Just used her blink as well. She only has 1 blink left. Are they going to catch her? They do know that she is around. And there's something stolen. Is going to be the blink by Atsi. Is he going to blink forward? Going to look for the telekinesis of Staliana. Forced to pop off that 10-second BKB charge. And she's going to live. But that's the most valuable charge on that BKB, and it's now down for a very long time. So that could be a tier 2 top lane push for MYM if they want to do that. Rise still in the bot lane, actually. Jakiro's stacked as hell, oh my god. Mech, Arcane Boots, plus an Ultimate Orb. Possibly going to go for a Fast Sheep. I mean, Anti-Mage needs a lot of money at this point. He's not farming fast enough. He's still constantly getting, he's getting steady farm. But he really needs more than that. He needs to get a couple of kills in a fight or something like that, because he's really not able to contest with this CK at this point in the game, which is usually the case, but he needs to be a little bit closer at least. Especially if Rise does get his hands on a sheep stick, well then the Anti-Mage is going to have to rely on a BKB eventually. If he gets sheeped, he's going to fall so darn quickly. Tier 2 tower does get fortified, as we do have Rise in the mid lane trying to defend this by himself. He does have level 4 on 2 of his core damaging spells. So he's going to be able to hold this. M5 just whittling down the towers everywhere. Nexus is going to try to take down the bot lane tower, but a fortification plus 2 teleportations. This tower is going to get denied. That's the second denial from MYM. M5, I do believe, got only 1 denial on their tower, the bot tier 1 right there. So MYM, they're maintaining their hold on this game. They're doing basically exactly what they need to do. They need to be aggressive. They need to take objectives, whether that means getting kills or getting towers or, denying anti-mage farm while at the same time farming up the CK. They're doing everything that they need to do in M5. They really can't. They have to be the ones that are responsive. They cannot be the ones making the shot, calling the shots, because it just won't happen. MYM, they're going to try to go for a Roshan, and I don't think M5 know about this. They don't have any wards here. That the only ward in this area is a Radiant ward. So Roshan is slowly getting brought down. The Liquid Fire actually pretty darn good against Roshan. Just look how fast he's attacking now. And then look how fast he's attacking in 4 seconds. It's pretty... Oh, come on. Please live for another 4 seconds. Okay, there you go. Look how slow that is. Jakiro OP, really. Such a great Roshan tool, that Liquid Fire. It's only level 2 even. Usually do see Jakiro's getting a little more Ice Path and Liquid Fire. I believe that's the build now, with Dual Breath being used just for the slow. But really, Jakiro, with the buff on the Ice Path, now has so many valuable spells. He's going to go for that Sheep, and with that double life onto Balsam, they want to go for Raxes, at least to force MYM to teleport back, because, they're going to have to. They do have all their team fight ultimates as well, so this could be a good fight for M5. The Raktas are under fire. The armlet plus the pipe denying everything from that Sonic Wave. Stallion burning that Sonic Wave for nothing, and the pop-up's BKB, but the Raktas are going to drop. Now initiation onto Stoy, can take a 3-second stun. Kraken Shell does pop, he does get the Ravage off, but at what cost? He did lose his life, and it wasn't that effective. Chain Frost does fly off it well, but burned in the creeps and illusions. Now Balsam's just going to go to town on solo. Nexus trying to get a kill onto Quicks, not enough damage there. Balsam's still alive, going to get a 4-second stun onto Nexus. Dual Breath will bring him down. Stallion is going to burn down the Aegis, but Calculus is going to force himself forward, kill the Lich one more time, and Balsam is now at full health, full mana. The range Rax is not going to be the priority. Oh my god, 700, 800 crit. Insane. As M5, they've had enough. Wow, okay, so MYM, they played the mid-game aggressive strategy and it worked. M5 kind of trying to get locked down into the late game, unfortunately did not go for them. So MYM do take this. Once again, guys, this is from the Star Series Season 3 LAN event, so they are playing with no delay. So this is really as good as you could possibly want, except for TI2, which is kind of cheating because that doesn't count. But anyway, MYM's early mid-game power strategy does work out in the end. The aggression was there, the denial of the anti-mage farm was there as well, and even if the anti-mage got farm, I do believe that MYM, they played their fights well enough so that it really wouldn't have mattered if the anti-mage was doing a little bit more damage, because at the end of every fight, MYM, they were all very, very healthy. So even if anti-mage was doing a little bit more, it wouldn't have mattered all that much. That's going to be it, guys. I'm just going to wait for this game to actually end. I don't know why Lich is still here. Get out of here, Lich. I want to see a score screen. Are you kidding me? Real? There you go. Okay, we're going to see a score screen right now. I don't know if anyone actually cares for the score screen. I just think it's a good way to end. But anyway, guys, I do have a couple of Dota 2 invites now. So, I don't know, I might like give them away to subscribers or something like that. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, then shame on you. You should better subscribe because that would make me happy. And, well, you might get a Dota key if you need one. But that's going to be it for me, guys. GG.